Hi there, this is Mr. Sutton bringing you the IM3 2-1 Part 1 homework solutions on operations with polynomials. On this problem, we're trying to simplify this expression, which means we have to multiply this negative 5a to everything inside this parentheses here. So negative 5a times negative 3a squared. Negative 5 times negative 3 gives us 15. And a times a squared, using our exponent rules, that's really 1 plus 2, so an exponent of 3. So 15a cubed. And then we have negative 5a times 6a cubed. That'll be negative 30a to the 3 plus 1, so a to the 4th. And then finally, negative 5a times negative 3a to the 4th. That will be 15a to the 5th. For this problem, we basically have to distribute or multiply 3/4 x squared to everything inside this parentheses. So we're going to have to be careful with the fraction and our exponent rules. Remember, when you're multiplying the same bases together, like x squared and x, you're going to be adding the exponents. So we're going to have x squared times x is really x to the 2 plus 1, or x cubed. And for the coefficient, when we multiply 3/4 x squared times 8x, well, 3/4 of 8, 8 divided by 4 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. So that's a total of 6x cubed for that first term. All right, for the next one, 12 divided by 4 is 3, times 3 is 9. And there's no x's to combine, so we just carry through this x squared, so 9x squared. And then finally, 3/4 times negative 16. 16 divided by 4 is 4, times 3 is 12, so we have a negative 12. X to the negative 1 plus 2 gives us just x to the 1. So that's a grand total of negative 12x. For this problem, we have to use the distributive property, also known as FOIL in this situation. So we've got 6 times the second parentheses, and also negative z times the second parentheses. So 6 times 6, that's 36. 6 times positive z is positive 6z. Negative z times 6, that's negative 6z. And negative z times positive z is negative z squared. 6z minus 6z, those actually cancel out, so we're just left with 36 minus z squared. For this problem, we're going to distribute using FOIL, so basically m squared times the second parentheses and negative 5 times the second parentheses. So m squared times 2m squared to start us off, that's 2m to the 2 plus 2, so 2m to the 4th power. We're adding exponents here. And then m squared times 3, that's going to be plus 3m squared. Negative 5 times 2m squared, that's going to be negative 10m squared. And then finally, negative 5 times 3 gives us negative 15. We can combine the m squareds in the middle. 3m squared minus 10m squared, that's going to be negative 7m squared. Add the coefficients, keep the variable in the exponent. So we end up with 2m to the 4th minus 7m squared minus 15. To multiply these parentheses together, we have to distribute or FOIL. So we do firsts a times a, that's a squared, and then we have a times 3, so 3a. Now we have to distribute this 6 to the a plus 3, so that's 6 times a, which is 6a. And then we have 6 times 3, which gives us 18. Combining like terms, we still have an a squared. Now these a's in the middle add up to 9a, and then we still have the 18. To simplify this expression, we're going to multiply these parentheses together by distributing or FOILing. So we've got the first terms, 4y and 2y. That's going to be 8y squared. And now I have to also distribute that 4y to the 7 over here. So that's 28y that we're adding. Now I distribute negative 6 to the second parentheses. So negative 6 times 2y gives me negative 12y. And negative 6 times 7, that's going to be negative 42. The 28y minus 12y gives us a 16y in the middle. And everything else is still going to be the same. For this problem, I'm going to go ahead and FOIL these parentheses together, multiply them using distributive property. So we have 1 times the second parentheses. 1 times 1 gives us 1. 1 times 4c is still 4c. Next, I have the 4c here times the second parentheses. So 4c times 1 is 4c. And then 4c times 4c is going to be 16c squared. Adding those 4 c's in the middle, that's going to be an 8c, and we still have a 1 and a 16c squared to go with the 8c. On this problem, we have to multiply these parentheses together. So I'm going to do that by distributing 3x to the second parentheses and then 8 to the second parentheses. Or you can use the FOIL process, whatever you're more comfortable with. So we have 3x times 2x. That's going to be 6x squared. 3x times 6 gives us 18x that we're adding there. 8 times 2x is 16x. And 8 times 6 is going to be 48. 18x can combine with 16x to give us 34x in the middle, and everything else is going to be the same. On this one, we want to know the sum of these two polynomials. So basically, taking all of this stuff and adding it to all of that stuff. So if you wanted to, you could just get rid of these parentheses because you're just doing a plus 1 times all that stuff. But what I am going to do for my next step, before I actually add anything, I'm just going to put the like terms next to each other. So we have a 4x squared plus a 2x squared, a 3x minus an 8x, and finally a negative 2 plus 9. Going from left to right, these combine to give us 6x squared, negative 5x, and finally this will be a negative 2 plus 9 is 7. And that is going to be answer choice, looks like B.